Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to explain about sociolinguistics and education. This topic discuss how language and society are related to education, especially in classroom setting. I will explain how language difference can influence students' learning experience. What is sociolinguistics and education? Sociolinguistics a branch of sociolinguistics that examines the relationship between language, society, and education. This means it is part of sociolinguistics that focus specifically on education. It examines how language, society, and education are connected to each other. In school, language is used to teach, to learn, and to assess students. Because language is shaped by society, uh, education are connected to each other. This field studies how social life influence language use in educational setting. And the second one is focused on how language variation, social class, identity, and power influence learning. This field focuses on how different factors influence learning. Language variation refers to difference in accent, dialects, or language style. Social class can affect the type of language students are familiar with. Identity also plays a role because language is a part of who students are. Power is important because some way of speaking are valued more than others in school. Uh, all these factors influence how easily students can participate and success in learning. And the third one is language school is not neutral, it reflects social value and ideology. Uh, lang- this means that schools do not treat all language of variety equally. Certain way of speaking are considered correct, polite, or intelligent. These judgments reflect social values and ideology in a society. As a result, language policies and classroom rules often favor a particular group of students. They show that language use in education is closely linked to social belief. And the last is helps explain why some students success while others struggle with linguistically. Some students success because the language they use at home is similar to language in school. This struggle is not caused by low intelligence. Instead, it happened because students are expected to adapt to a language system that is unfamiliar to them. So sociolinguistics help us understand education, success, and difficulty from linguistics perspective. Here, several key issues about in sociolinguistics and education. The first one is language ideology. Language ideology play an important role because they shape educational policies and classroom practice. And the second issue is student social identity and background influence classroom interaction. School often promote certain language varieties as more correct or appropriate. At the same time, student social identity and background influence how they interact in the classroom and how teacher perceive them. And The third is use of monetary language and dialect in school is often restricted. In many schools, the use of monetary language and non-standard dialect is restricted, which can limit student participation. As a result, unequal access to standard English affect academic success, not because students lack ability, but because language differences are not equally valued. The next is social dialects in education. Children bring their home dialect to school from family and community. This home dialect influence how easily students understand the lesson and communicate with the teacher and the classmate. However, school usually prioritize standard language variety as the main medium of interaction. And because of this, students who do not speak the standard dialect might be judged unfairly. And as a result, dialect difference can create educational inequality, not because of student intelligence, but because their language background is not fully recognized. Next, about non-standard dialects, it is a problem or a result. Non-standard dialects are often viewed as a disadvantage. Students who use this dialect might experience a stigma or receive low expectation from the teacher. However, linguists argue that dialect should not be seen as a problem, but as learning resources. Using students' home dialects can help them understand, listen more easily, and participate more actively in class. By respecting language diversity, a school can create a more inclusive educational environment for all students. Difference, not deficit. The concept of difference, not deficit, emphasizes that all language varieties are systematic and rule governed. This means every variety has its own grammar and structure. Now, language variety is linguistically superior to another. Uh, Language discrimination happen because of power, social class, and ideology, not because of linguistic quality. For this reason, linguistics reject the idea that language variation equals deficiency. Educational problem related to language should be understood as social issues rather than linguistic ones. Next, role of home dialects in the classroom. The first is banning home dialect can cause uh, social disadvantage, psychological harm, and difficulties in early literacy. Therefore, schools should acknowledge students' linguistic background instead of ignoring them. Dialect can be used strategically to support learning and help students understand listen more effectively. Next is African American Vernacular English or AAVE is a legitimate variety. It has consistent grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation pattern, and often misunderstood as slang or incorrect English in educational setting. This negative attitude toward AIPE do not come from linguistic facts, like instead they reflect racial and social class bias that exist in a society. So there are several approaches to IPE in education. The first one is contrastive analysis, which teaches students the difference between IPE and standard English. Another approach is affirming AFE to support student identity and confidence. And cultural responsive teaching also use student linguistic resource as a part of the learning process. Ignoring APE might lead to misdiagnosis and low expectation for students. Multilingual education. Multilingual classrooms are increasingly common worldwide due to globalization and migration. Many students grow up using more than one language in their daily life before entering school. However, in many educational systems, a monoclassist ideology still dominant. This ideology promotes that use of only one language in school, usually the dominant or official language. Research shows that bilingual education supports long-term academic achievement. Students who are allowed to develop more than one language often perform better over time. First language literacy also plays an important role because it strengthens second language learning. A skill such as reading and writing in the first language can transfer to the second language. Therefore, language diversity should be recognized in an asset rather than a problem in education. Next is worldwide English and elite closer. English provides access to global education and opportunities. It is often used as the main language in international university, academic publication, and global job markets. However, an equal access to English creates elite closer. Uh, Elite closer is a certain group benefit from English proficiency. In this situation, English can function as gatekeeper to higher education and better job opportunities. Students who have limited access to quality English education might be excluded from this opportunity. As a result, language inequality reinforces existing social and economic inequality in society. Conclusion: language diversity is reality in education. Students come to school with home dialect and shaped by their community and culture. This dialect and home language should be treated as a disorder rather than a problem. Rather than problem. Sorry. Sociolinguistics promotes fairness, inclusion, and social justice by challenging language discrimination in education. By understanding language variation, a teacher and school can create a better classroom that are more inclusive and supportive for all students. I think that's all from me. Thank you and